product. And I think for us, we've had some really good retailers. We were just talking about one today that came on with us, Owl's Nest Barbecue. He's awesome, but he sold a lot of product, but he's passionate about it. Yep. He talks about it. He educates his people, his staff, everybody on it.
I'll tell you what, all you people that said, I love cold weather, you got your wish today. You know, I didn't hear one person come into my gas station and say, I love this cold weather. Not one. The only thing I heard today were, brr, it's freezing outside and it's going to be colder in the morning. It is here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Hey, welcome everybody to the Owl's Nest Barbecue Catch-Up Show. We start our months-long prime rib and Chateaubriand month tonight. We've got special guests coming on board with us tonight. But first, I want to tell you about something. We're having a special prime rib and Chateaubriand workshop on December the 21st. That's Saturday, December the 21st, the Saturday before Christmas. It's going to be at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's going to be at our Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply Store in Ottawa. And if you want to sign up, we'd love for you to sign up. Space is limited because we're going to be doing we're going to have refreshments, of course. We'll have samples of prime rib and Chateaubriand, and we'll have special guests there to explain things to us. And it's going to be a fun morning, and it'll last about an hour and 15 minutes. So if you want to come, text me at 423-593-6588, 423-593-6588, and I will hook you up and we'll get you on the list. And like I said, it's going to be limited, but we have room for about probably 25 to 30 people. So we'd love for you to be part of it. There's no cost. It's going to be no cost. Everything's going to be provided for you. And like I say, we'll have samples, and we'll have some Bloody Marys, and that were left over from the open house we had. That was a lot of fun. And we'll just have a good time. We'll have some crackers and some Terrapin Ridge Farm products for you to sample. And you may want to take some of those home because those make great Christmas presents, and they make great Christmas morning, snacks before dinner. So we're gonna have all of that, and that's going to be Saturday, December the 21st at 9 o'clock at Owl's Nest Barbecue. Text me or call me at 423-593-6588 and get signed up. We'll get you on the list so we can make sure we reserve your spot. All right, we're going to bring in our guest. First from Rock Spring, Georgia, the great Jason Penley, the Owl's Nest Barbecue handyman. And now we've got a real special guy with us today. I'm gonna flip to this cool screen right there, fellas. David Bosco, one of my favorite human beings and purveyor of Butcher Barbecue products, proudly displayed on the north wall of the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply. David's got the whole wall. And Jason, Let me tell you how I met David. You probably don't know. David and
No.
I used to listen to the same show, the Barbecue Central show years ago.
Okay.
And in one year, when David was on Barbecue Pitmasters, was it season 3 or 4, David, when you made it to the finals?
I think that was season 4.
Season 4, he, Lene Oxley, and Rod Gray made it to the finals, and they had a big 2-hour ending show. It was great, and they did whole hogs. And David cooks on an FMC FEC pellet cooker in competition,
Okay.
and the two others cooked on stick burners, and they had to cook this hog on a Lang stick burner. And so, and to fast forward at the end of the show, Rod won, and David came in third, and Lene came in second. And so they were talking about it on this show we were watching, and I saw David in the chat room, and I never met David, and I said to him in the chat room, I said, David, as I'm Steve from Ooltewah, I said, if Ben Lang had made a pellet cooker, you'd have won that thing. And of course, everybody in the chat room laughed, well, like that. And when we fast forward again, when we started to do the store, I contacted David and said, hey, would you sell some rubs? And it was David Bosco was the first products we had in the store.
Okay.
I had him on a little shelf in the corner, and I kept calling. I have to call you and email you once a week, David. I kept selling out of this stuff. Remember that?
I remember it vaguely. Yes.
And David, on one email, he said, "Who's buying all this stuff?" Because it was just one shelf in the corner. But David was the beginning of it all at Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply.
Okay.
And he was so nice to fill those little orders that we used to send him, and I always appreciated that. Hey, we're talking prime rib, and we are talking Chateaubriand. I've got a couple pictures here. In case you're not familiar, I'm sure you are. Here is a prime rib. We're going to cover Jason's face up with that prime rib. That is a prime rib, and here is the Chateaubriand. And I tell you what I've got, David. I've got let's see, where is Jason? Was nice enough. Here it is, right here. There's Jason's prime rib. Look at that, David.
Nice. Really nice.
Prime rib from last year. It's one, I guess is that one of the aged ones, Jason?
It is.
Yeah, that's beautiful prime rib. And but what I want to start with, David, is the Chateaubriand, because a lot of people don't know what it is or what part of the cow it comes from. So if you could kind of take it from there, what makes this thing so expensive? What makes it so tasty? And what part of the cow it comes from? And kind of give us a background on it.
Well, let's start by splitting it. Chateaubriand is actually a method of cooking. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a French method of cooking. It's normally, it is probably 99% of the time it's done with a center cut of the beef tenderloin. Okay. Everybody knows, well, they think beef tenderloin and that's Chateaubriand, marinated in red wine sauce and go. Now, in theory, yes, you're correct. But Chateaubriand is a method of cooking with a creamy French sauce. It's got to do with the egg yolks, butter, some herbs, some spices, some shallots, and a little vinegar or red wine vinegar or red wine. So that is exactly what Chateaubriand is. It's more of a method. It's kind of like saying pot roast. What roast? A pot roast is a method of cooking the roast.
okay.
Okay. But people do use the center cut of the filet or the tenderloin for that particular cut. So it is the tenderloin. To answer your question, the meat that is used is the tenderloin. It's a center cut, which comes from, if you look, the end that you have up where the word Owl's Nest is, that is what is classified a tenderloin, butt tenderloin. That comes from under the sirloin area, closer to the hind leg, and then it tapers. The Chateaubriand part all the way through the tenderloin tip area comes from the underneath side of the T-bone, the porterhouse, the T-bone. Hence, or I'm sorry, if it was boneless, it'd be the New York strip steaks.
Okay. And what about that thing they call the chain?
That's generally left on it. What that is, that's just a connective piece. I mean,
Is it edible?
yeah, it's edible.
Okay.
Most of the time, meat cutters will pull that off because it does have the extra connective tissues. And if you're trying to make a plate presentation, it has a good chance of separating. And if you want that plate presentation and then all of a sudden a little piece of it falls off to the side, presentation isn't there.
Now I imagine it's so expensive because on this one diagram of Connie the cow, that tenderloin, it doesn't look like it's a very big part of the animal.
Most tenderloins are going to be anywhere from 5 to 7 pounds, maybe up to 9 pounds on a large animal. So you're not talking very much. And that's why it's a dormant muscle. It does not move, does not contract or pull together during any of the movement of the cows. It grows on the inside of the backbone. And the only way that that would work then is if you've seen a cow bend this way. Cows don't move that way. So, but that's why.
So get that. Now I'm going to ask a really dumb question, and because I know nothing about butchering animals, I am assuming there's only one per cow, one tenderloin.
2, one on each side.
Okay. I thought that,
Yes.
but I didn't want to presume that. So you can get 2 of those from one cow.
Yes, sir.
But still, that's not a whole lot. I guess that's why they're so expensive, because they're so high in demand.
That's it. There's more round steaks, there's more chuck roast, and those. So yes, you can get more of the animal when you do process it for those cuts. On the tenderloin, not so much. So it's a supply and demand. There's not that many, and about 10 days ago, all the primal meats have really started going up big time. Getting ready for the holidays, I should say. That's why.
Yeah. What, David? What is it that makes that piece of meat taste so much? I guess that's probably the premier piece. Of course, that's all on subjection and opinion. But I think I love filet. It's my favorite cut of meat. What makes it so tastier than the other meat? What is it that where this thing sits at on that cow that makes it absorb more flavor?
I don't think it has a lot to do with absorbing flavor from the cow. Okay. It's actually a fairly lean piece of meat. It can be dry. And I think that what it is whenever someone purchases it or cooks it, they spend a little extra time. They put a little extra love in it. The outer spicer, they crushed it just right. They don't overcook it versus, say, a full cut T-bone or a strip steak. Some people just prime rib, or I'm sorry, ribeye steaks. To me, fillets don't have as much flavor as some of those others for me because it doesn't have all the marbling. There's not a lot of marbling in the tenderloin unless you really get into the very, very high grades of meat. Yeah.
The Jason, I don't know about you, but I love the texture of the tenderloin. I guess that's what I love the most. I can I can add my own flavors to it.
Yeah.
Salt, pepper,
Texas bark.
Grilling addiction. I was thinking
grilling addiction.
There you go. That'll work too.
Yeah. I wish we could get an in between the filet and the ribeye, because I like a ribeye because to me fat means flavor. I wish we could get a little bit of in between, that tenderness of the filet with that marbling and the flavor of that ribeye. I mean, that would be a perfect steak.
Yeah.
Ribeyes are okay, but there's a lot of gristle, and there's just, when you cook it down, it's just not as I don't know. I just don't think it's as good as flavor. But that's just personal opinion. What David, what is the best way to cook the now say if we're going to really do the Chateaubriand, and whether we're going to call it that or we're going to cook it. You being a 2-time world champion barbecue cook, what would be your method of cooking that piece of meat? And I'm going to call it the Chateaubriand for
Right.
lack of I guess
Yeah,
it sounds better. It sounds snootier than the middle fillet.
I like your style.
It's all about presentation.
That's right. I think cooking it hot and fast. I love the sear on the outside. I just like it cooked over. Let's take like a pit barrel. I love it cooked over live fire. To me, it just has a better flavor than a pan seared and a reverse seared, put it out type world. But I think cooking it whole has its benefits versus slicing it, and that's where the Chateaubriand method comes into play. As it cooks whole, then you slice it so it does retain that moisture and all the internal juices, which could be the flavors you're talking about.
Okay.
So I think that's where a lot of it can come from.
Jason, have you ever cooked one?
I've not cooked a whole one like you're talking about. No, of course I've cooked a lot of fillets, but not
Right.
whole like that. Not the Chateaubriand method. No.
I've never cooked just the chateau. I've never spent that much money on such a small piece of meat, because that thing's $130, $140 that you got to get it at.
The way I like to do it though, like you can, of course you can go to Costco and buy the whole filet, or, where at your local butcher or wherever. But if you cut it up, kind of like I do with those ribeyes, if you cut it up and vacuum pack those steaks, it really, when you break it down to an individual steak, it's not that bad. Of course, you do have to swallow that cost up front, but to me, you get better yield for your money.
Well, I can't. We're gonna cook one at the 21st, Jason. I hope you'll be there. I hope you bring Jill, and I hope she brings some of that bread. Jason's wife, Jill, cooks the best sourdough bread you've ever put in your mouth. I'm not kidding.
Hey, let me tell you on that note, I'm gonna get her to make you some of these rolls she made for Thanksgiving. She left her starter, I say out, in the fridge for 2 weeks, I think, and kept feeding it, kind of thing. And the longer she left it out, the more sourdough taste or flavor that it got. She cooked these rolls out of that sourdough mixture on Thanksgiving that were amazing.
Yeah. So I've still got some. Pete brought me some ham he had left over, and I've still got it, so we can, ham roll sandwiches after the holidays are the best. Yep. All right, let's go to the prime rib, and let me just say that's where the tenderloin comes from. Is that correct, David? Is that
no? Move up to where chuck, then rib. That's basically where where the prime rib come. It'll come from the top.
No, I'm still talking about the tenderloin.
Okay, yes, sir. It'll come from part under the short loin to that sirloin area. Yes, sir.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was accurate. Okay, good deal. All right, we covered the Chateaubriand, and we'll be doing that. We'll be trimming we'll get a tenderloin and trim it down to that middle tenderloin piece. That we're going to have to find a name for it. Everybody calls it the Chateaubriand, but I didn't know it was a method of cooking. See, every time I cook or every time I talk about cooking, I learn something.
That's the money muscle of the cow.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You're right.
Are you planning on doing it in like a sauce method, like David was talking about?
It depends on who I can get come to the event, Jason. If it's the closer we get, that might be your role.
I'm going to look into that, because until tonight, I was really, to be honest with you, I was unfamiliar with that method. So I'm taking notes, and I'm going to study up on it for sure.
I guess that's one where they put it in a pan and they keep throwing stuff on it. David, is that the method?
It's baked. Yeah, it's baked at a high temp, and the sauce I was talking about is called a Bernice sauce.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, which is like I spoke about, but it is actually cooked with the red wine or red champagnes. There's different things, different methods, and I'm sure it's a lot like our Carolinas. You have the different types of vinegar sauces over there. Probably whichever part of France you come from, those teachers in those areas like their method.
Yep.
Yeah, so I can definitely see it that way here too.
David, when you were butchering for a living, did you ever trim one down to just that middle section, the Chateaubriand thing, and sell them?
Not very often. Not very often. Most of the people, if they want them whole, they'll take the whole tenderloin. But most everybody got them cut into steaks.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's move on to my favorite, my second favorite rather, the prime rib.
Yeah.
And is that accurate there, David?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. What prime rib is there again, we're going to step back into the cooking. Prime rib is a method of cooking a rib roast. You can do bone in or boneless. I prefer boneless just for personal ease, because when you're done cooking, it can slice real easily. If you do get a bone in, I would highly recommend pulling the bone off prior to cooking and tying it back on. That way, when you're finished, you can clip the twine and then separate and do it. But the only time I would cook one with a bone is if it would have to do with the cooking. And if I had too high, or the type of cooker I had maybe was too close. Let's say you got like a Weber kettle or something, and you know that your heat is too close to your grate is too close to the heat, and you want to put a protection barrier in there for your meat so that the bottom doesn't get to 140, 145, and the top is at 90.
Right.
Okay. So you want to put that 1 inch barrier in, that 1 inch barrier in there to where it will help keep it cooking, and you can get the rares, the medium rare, whatever your preference is, without it being completely charred on the bottom.
Okay, so you're actually using the bone as a protectant.
That's exactly right.
Not so much as
that's how I would do it.
It's not so much something you're going to eat, but just to protect the big meat.
Yeah, the traditional way is it's not cooked that close to the grate's not that close to the fire, cooks more even, more all around. That's the reason the tying method is so popular. Is it if you have something, I'm trying to get into the screen, 3 inches on one side, 4 inches on one side, and it tapers down like a ribeye, and it gets all the way down to 1.5 inches on the other side. Well, obviously, this is going to get done more than this. So if you could tie it more cylindrical like that, then it cooks more even all the way around. That's why you want to try to get it tied as circle looking as possible. It's for the even doneness is what it's done for. Yeah.
On that, the prime rib is, let's see, it's 7 bones, correct?
No, sir. 14 bones.
How many?
14 bones. There's 14 bones on the rib section.
Okay.
Because you actually split the animal between the 12th and 13th rib. But there's an extra bone that goes when you split in the back, goes to the chuck. So you've got 12 to 14 bones, according to who's doing your cutting, as to how it can be broke. The 7 bone is generally what's called a small end. And that'll be a larger piece. And that's going to be more of the solid muscle meat. That's going to be the same section that is connected to the T-bone.
Oh, okay.
Take a picture of the top of a T-bone, which is the New York strip. That is going to be the same mirror image right beside it where it's split that the ribeye starts. That ribeye with all the multi-muscle, what the steak cookers call try-hard and all that, that comes closer to the front of the cow where the chuck roast is.
That's where you get into the spinalis. Like one end of the prime, when you get a prime rib, some of them, if you're not picky, you'll get less spinalis.
Well, that's closer to the T-bone area, but the spinalis muscle actually covers, I'd say, 85% of the whole ribeye. It's just that it's very thin on one end.
Yeah.
And for steak cookers, that's not much meat.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I prefer the prime rib that's got that big, nice, wide spinalis along the top.
And that's coming up by the chuck roast end of the animal, which is called the large end,
Right.
because it is a larger diameter piece of meat versus the small end by the T-bone.
So it's actually 14 bone.
You
Wow.
could say 12 to be safe.
Okay.
But a lot of places will go ahead and cut a bone extra off of the loin, the short loin area, which would lose from a T-bone, and then gain a bone longer on the chuck roast end. Because hey, don't blame us butchers. We're going to get paid more for that prime rib section than a chuck roast,
Right.
and then right now than a T-bone.
So which would be the tastiest end if you were to get, so I guess you could say if it was 12 bones and you split it 6 and 6, you got
the large end
towards the back of the cow.
No, sir.
Is that correct?
The front of the cow.
Towards the front of the cow.
Closer to the chuck roast area.
Okay. So that's going to be your tenderest end. And then your other, so like if I go to Publix, and I'm buying they're always in 7 bones where we live.
So if you look though, some of them have that thin tapered down spinalis on one end of the prime ribs, like at Publix. But if you'll pick through them, some of them have got that big, thick, wide band. They come.
Jason, let's explain what that is. You and I think we're. Let's pretend we're talking to some people there in the chat room. The spinalis is actually going to be on the opposite side of the bone.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could probably pull up a picture of one of those prime ribs and show him.
Let's say this is your prime rib. You got a small end, you got a large end. This is going to be the end closest to the chuck roast. Okay. And the bones is like right here. This is where it'd be setting. Boy, ain't we making fun here. Where this is the ribs that go on a cow that go all the way down the chest to the chest. Okay. The spinalis is going to be across this top down to about right here. It's going to be very thin here, but up to here, it could get up to an inch thick, inch wide, not an inch wide.
Yeah.
Part of the ribeye down in the face of it. It could get an inch down into it.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying is to look for is if you can see the face cut of the ribeye, look to see if it's got looks like a cap on top. Okay. Yep. Then the bones will be down here underneath it. Does that help? Okay, there you go.
You can see it right there.
Okay. See the glass setting up at the top? See that glass at the
Steve, up there next to where my knife holder's at?
Yeah, yes. It looks like a glass right there. The ribeye area that would be touching that glass is the thinnest part of the spinalis. Then you get the big center eye right there in the middle. I've lost you, Steve.
Well, yeah, Steve, you're breaking up, Steve.
Oh, that center cut has a very small spinalis.
The second cut from the knife handle end.
No, the knife end.
That's correct. See the top of it up there? That is thinner. Go towards the knife handle, and you can start to see where it's thickening up. Does that make sense? Right above the fat down in the middle of the steak.
Yeah, there's usually like and correct me if I'm wrong, it's almost, is it like a sinew or whatever that's called? There's almost like a little
connective tissue. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a little fat cap almost kind of thing that separates the spinalis from the rest of the meat.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Now the fat cap's pretty tasty.
Oh, that's my hands down most favorite part of a prime rib.
Yeah.
So we can say that you get two sections of prime rib off of each side. So you get basically 4 6-bone prime ribs, David. Is that correct?
You could. Yes.
Okay. All right. And how many ribs does the cow have? 21?
Oh man, you're gonna make me lie now. I don't know. Don't make me lie. Yeah.
Oh, I was just Google. I was just wondering what comes off the other ends that's not prime rib.
T-bone.
Okay, let me find my little Connie the cow here.
T-bone. The short loin is the primal name for T-bone.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll cut it into, because there again, it is the steak name is T-bone. The primal cut short rib.
Okay.
I'm sorry, short loin. Short loin. That's the primal cut. Yeah.
According to Google, a cow has 26 ribs, 13
Okay.
pairs.
Okay.
26. Okay. So well, David, let me, while we've got you on the phone here, where are those those big dino ribs come from?
Perfect. See the plate where it says plate right below the ribs?
Yeah.
Right in there.
Okay. So those are the big long ones.
Yeah. It'll be the right about where the circle of the rib is written. That circle that's around rib down to the plate area.
Okay. All right.
So it's just kind of where the rib fans out on the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. You've seen those whole bone-in ribs that you've probably seen. That's technically that's still part of it. Yeah, you've seen those big old
like when you get a tomahawk, it's still got
that you've got part of it on there. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to think of the technical retail name.
Oh, shoot, I forgot how I was going to phrase this. I'll think of it in a minute. You made me lose I had a great question and you made me lose it. When you said that tomahawk, Jason, that made my brain flash back to another thing. So the prime rib, you got 12 to 13 bones, and they cut them they just cut them down to make them more manageable for us, I guess, right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So we can live with that. So if you want to make sure to get the best ones, you want to look at it from the end and find the biggest spinalis, the large cap to it. That'll be the tastiest.
Some people may prefer the thinner end. Would there be a reason, David, that somebody would prefer the thinner end? Not to me, but
no. It's probably more serving. It might make it easier for them. Type of cooking they may do, that may be what they're used to, or they need that whole thing
right
for cooking.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know how many people in the general public actually know how to go into, a supermarket and look for a prime rib with a good, healthy spinalis on it, off the big end.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, the internet people that follows the barbecue and the cooking and all that didn't know a dang thing about it either till SCA come around.
Right.
What I was going to ask, David, the bones that are on a prime rib, we always, when we cook them, I cut the bones off, okay, and then I tie my prime rib in a real tight circle so I can get that even cook you're talking about, that coast to coast look you want. What those bones that are left, what are those called?
Well, they're just a short rib.
Short rib, okay.
Yeah, some short ribs come up by the chuck roast, but that right there can be the same thing. Exactly.
Okay. Because what we do, we usually take those and smoke those separately. Mm-hmm. And those are, man, sometimes they're better than the prime rib.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely.
Man, they're delicious. Or hold them over a grill and you got kind of like a ribeye steak with a big, just there's not a lot of meat there, but man, something good to gnaw on while you're working. I love them.
That's the pit master's choice right there. That's their little treat.
No kidding. Well, David, that is some fantastic information. So now we all know where this meat comes from. That's what we're trying to do this month. We're trying to educate everybody, and me included. And Jason, I'm sure you probably know more about it than I do.
I'm learning
because you know more about everything than I do.
No,
and most everybody in our little group, which isn't saying much. So we've learned about where it comes from, what makes it taste so good. David, how come on the prime ribs, like they'll run those things? Sometimes they're $24.99 a pound, and coming up at our local Publix, they're $6.95 a pound the week before Christmas. Now, what makes that? You don't ever see the tenderloin, that 124, and then the next week, $8.95. It's always 124. But the prime rib, the prices fluctuate.
Well, right now, about a week ago, what we call primals, everything went up. there at our restaurant, we're paying $14-16 a pound right now for ribeyes, boneless
Wow.
ribeyes. That's how
Wow.
much it is. Yeah. So if we've got to pay that much for it and we have yet to spice it or to even put it in and cook it, I mean, you're talking a pound. So you're talking an average that thick. And we're going to trim off the fat. So you're not going to even buy that. So by the time you go through a cutting test and everything, we're probably $18.50 to $19 a pound cost.
Dang.
And yeah, so and you want to know why people are spending $26, $28, $30 for prime rib? Well, that's why right there.
Supply and demand.
As that's what I was fixing to ask. Is it just supply and demand this time of year is the reason?
110%.
Okay.
Because what you have to remember is these plants, whenever, and usually hamburger gets hit the hardest because it has less shelf life, cooler life. Thanksgiving is a 4-day kill. Christmas is a 4-day kill for the week. So they know this in advance, and they know that the whole industry is going to be short 3 days in this because you got Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's.
Now, what is a 4-day kill? What do you mean by that?
And the actual meat plants, they're killing 5 days a week. Okay. They can only kill 4 days because they got vacation. I mean,
they lose a day.
They're closed on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, they're losing a day.
They're losing a day of kill to spread across the nation. I mean, you got plants that are doing 10, 12, 14, $16,000, 16,000 heads a day. You take out 2 days worth, there's a lot of demand still and less product. So sometimes hamburger meat will go up more than the other things because in that 5-day time frame, there's less hamburger and it's got even less shelf life than these whole primals, these boneless strip loins or chuck roast or clods or tri-tips. They don't hold up as much because it's a multi-muscle ground product.
Makes sense.
So there's a lot of that factor and it goes up. But then again, supply and demand. The meat shops and the grocery stores they write their ads generally 30 days out. So these plants have already got them spoken for. And they've got what we call ceiling prices. The ceiling price for prime rib might be $16.99. So they know that the most that they're ever going to get charged in this 3-week time frame is going to be $16.99. But they've got a bottom so that if it does drop, then they will get it. So they'll set their price in there according to cutting sheets and all that. They may use it as a loss leader in a grocery store. Hey, come buy our prime rib, but we're going to make money on the 10-pound sacks of potatoes, the onions. You're going to buy a frozen pizza for the night before, all that other stuff. That might be your loss leader pull for that. But in the meat business, the plants they're writing these ads and these saddle pack sales 30 days out. Yeah.
They got one less day this time of the year. When Thanksgiving falls on so late in the week, that pushes everything back for the Christmas season. So,
and it does, but the downside with trying to predict prices for Thanksgiving is that chicken sales take a nosedive. Week of Thanksgiving, no one buys hardly chicken at all.
Right.
They'll buy gizzards and livers for the dressings. But thighs and drums and some breast, no one wants to buy that. They're fixing to have a big turkey. So the mix of sales drops. Sometimes ground beef will pick up, chuck roast will pick up. They'll cook that early on that and then have extras. They know because there's going to be a lot of leftovers for 2 days. Yeah.
Christmas dinner at the Bosca house. What are we having?
I haven't been told yet.
Are you ham people?
Yeah, we like ham.
Okay.
We had a great Thanksgiving. It was kind of an emergency thrown on us. I had a grandson got thrown into the emergency room for about 6 days.
Oh, no.
My son, we was all going to go over to his house and He was going to have a mess of people. I bet he's going to have 30 people there. Well, things happen, and so Tuesday I'm scattering. So we did a ham, some salmon fillets, and the whole fillets, and a couple turkey breast. Yeah.
Did you do fresh hams, or did you buy some that were already smoked?
No, I bought a cured ham. Didn't inject it, didn't do anything to it, just kind of a double smoked, and I put a peach preserve and brown sugar glaze on it.
Oh, that's good.
And then on the salmon, I did a raspberry chipotle and maple syrup glaze on that. That was really tasty. That was the hit of the dinner table.
I imagine it was.
I'm gonna have to try that. I'm a big salmon guy, but I've never put that kind of glaze on there. That sounds fantastic.
I wondered if that would work, and I tell you what, it absolutely did. Normal salmon glaze for me is a spicy barbecue sauce with maple syrup, and I wanted to do a twist with it.
Okay,
and I'll tell you what, it was all there.
I have found.
Say that again, Steve. I did.
What seasoning did you use on the salmon?
I'm not hearing him.
He said, "What seasoning did you use on the salmon?"
Nothing.
Just straight up.
We had some rosemary sprigs, and that was really about it. We didn't have any real seasoning on the salmon at all. We kept it just as fresh and pure as can be, and then just cooked. I did the glaze on it. Put it in for about an hour. I think it was at 260 degrees. And right when it hit 125 degrees, I threw a glaze on it, and it sat maybe 15, 18 minutes, pulled it out, and took it up to the house.
Well, that sounds like a good one. David, thank you so much.
Oh, I'm honored. I'm honored.
We sure appreciate it. We appreciate your good service too, as getting the product.
Nobody leaves Al's Nest without a bottle of grilling addiction.
That's right. That's what Pete said. Nobody leaves without the grilling addiction, and by golly, they don't. We had a lot of bottles of that grilling addiction go out the door this last week.
There's nothing it's not good on. It makes everything better.
I know.
You might have heard me say this, Jason, but I will promise you. You remember as kids those licking sticks, that little Kool-Aid?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I swear to gosh, I can do that with the grilling addiction. I can do a licking stick with that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's people that put it on popcorn. I mean, I think Michael Williams puts it on popcorn.
Puts it on pizza.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm telling you, it's good stuff. Yeah. He's got it down. I like it. Keep using it.
Absolutely. Michael Williams' famous frozen pizza on a chimp or a champ or whatever, or a gorilla or whatever that thing is.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. We're watching. We're watching.
He's got a new barrel, David. So we'll see some videos with he's got a new gateway. I think he got a new gateway, and Jason built him a new barrel too. Jason builds barrels. So that's another thing Jason's got into. So I'm sure we'll be seeing some frozen pizzas on barrels with grilling addiction on it.
Absolutely. All right.
David, thank you so much.
I'm honored, Steve.
We'll see you, man. Take care.
Thank you. Nice chatting with you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
All right, Jake. Let's see. That's David. I want Jason back here. There you go. All right, Jason, you ready to do some pictures with me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Here we go. Let's go here. We'll just start. There's the Chateaubriand. Whether it's called that or if that's the method, that's what it looks like. That's where it comes from. I didn't show that picture. That's kind of where where you get your filet mignon and your tail, and the Chateaubriand there's on the right, which I guess is the most tender place. There's your grilling addiction. Now, Jason, that's from Billy Holland.
Okay.
And that went on that thing right there.
That's a beauty right there. I mean, that line of seasonings right there is amazing.
Chicken on the spit. Isn't that good looking?
Absolutely. That color is beautiful.
I tell you, if you've never done a chicken on a spit, a rotisserie, it's just like those ones you get at Sam's and Costco.
Yep.
You know, the ones you buy that never make it to the table. You sit there over the sink and eat it as soon as you get home.
Yep.
You know, they're just delicious.
When I first started doing prime rib, I did prime rib on a rotisserie.
How was that?
It's fantastic.
I want to do that this year.
It's fantastic. You should try it. I think I've got. I may have some pictures of it. If I do, I'll send them to you.
We may do that. We may have one spinning there during that little.
It's great.
workshop.
You can do the little rosemary and thyme, make like a little brush, little broom out of it, tie it together, and do your butter and baste it as it's spinning with rosemary and thyme and stuff. It's fantastic.
That sounds good. There's Jason's prime rib. That was a, you know, we did ours, Jason, when you brought yours to the store.
Yeah.
Last year we just cut it up and made it as steaks.
Yep.
But boy, that looks good.
Yeah, that picture makes it look a little, I guess, redder than what it was in real life. Of course, I like my prime rib, a nice rare, medium rare. That picture right there kind of makes it look like it's almost not done, but I took it to temp.
No, it looks good. Let's see. Here we go. Here's Jeff's. That is Jeff's antipasto tray.
Okay.
An antipasto.
Kind of a charcuterie board with a little cheese on it.
Looks like little cheese strips and some.
That looks good.
Yeah, let's see. Let's go up here to the chat real quick. See if he's
in here.
Yeah, let's see. There's Michael. Good evening. Yeah, Michael. There's Jeff saying good evening. But there's David saying good evening. Steve Davidson. There's Steve checking in. Michael says Butcher Barbecue has the best rubs and sauces. Yes, they do. Jeff says Spinalis is where it is at prime. Where it's at on a prime rib. You got that right. Michael said Queen Bee would be tasty on salmon. It might be. James Edwards chiming in. The guys from Huntsville, Alabama. Yes, sir. Jeff says I put it on popcorn. Jeff's the one who puts it on popcorn. So let's go back here. Let's see. That is Jimmy Fawcett's smoked ham. That looks good. I like that. I like a smoked ham.
Me too.
Now here's Jeff's finished. Jeff did a fresh ham. Jason, you ever done a fresh ham?
I have not. I know y'all were talking about it the other day with what's his name from Alabama last week, I think it was, and that kind of piqued my interest a little bit too. And I seen where Jeff had posted that he was doing one, so I may give that a whirl. I may do like a Easter ham or something this year and do a fresh one.
David, Jeff uses that quick cure that we've got from David.
Okay,
it works fantastic, and that's what it looks like before he did it. So you can tell it. It does a good job.
Absolutely.
That looks really good. Looks like he's got a little crust on the outside. Ooh, I like that crust.
Me too.
There's Jonathan. We showed that last week, but that's
just gorgeous.
You know, his colors are just. I think it's trick photography.
That's AI. That's computer generated right there.
Yeah, that's AI. It's AI stuff. Oh, we're just kidding, Jonathan. That's good stuff. There's that ham again. That is new member Matt Howell got a new Green Mountain grill. You can see he went to Pimp My Grill and got the racks for it, and he did his full chicken wings on it. Boy, those look pretty. Look like little half chickens almost, don't they?
Yeah, they sure do. I went to high school with him.
Oh, he's a great guy.
Yep,
great guy. And there's his grill right there.
Yep.
So he's got that running. That's good. There's Mike Shadwick. He did that was a cured ham he did. And look at all that juice, man. That juice, that's flavor. You mix that with a little drizzle, whizzle.
Yeah.
As Snoop says, and boy, that's good stuff.
Absolutely.
You didn't think I knew who Snoop Dogg was, did you, Jason?
I'm proud of you. Can you rap a little bit of his music?
No. That is the piece of meat that Pete and I have made famous this year.
I'm telling you, I went and bought one. I went and bought one, and I mean, I tried them up there on Saturday when you had the open house. I'm personally not a turkey guy. I'll eat it. It's not my preference of protein at all. But I'm gonna tell you, those little things right there. If y'all have never had one, go pick you one up from Walmart, or I don't know who all carries them. I got mine at Walmart. They are fantastic.
They're cheap, $12.
Yeah,
they cook in an hour and a half. If you take your time, they cook in an hour and a half. I know you could get one cooked in 45 minutes if you cranked up the oven or cranked up the grill to about 450, and kind of watched what you're doing. You might burn
That would be
roast. That's
they
okay.
would be real good for like meal preppers. Like if you want to do like turkey sandwiches or whatever throughout the
Yeah.
week, sometimes man, cook that thing up right there and slice it up for some sandwich meat.
It's called a turkey roast.
Yep.
It's not a turkey breast. It's a turkey roast.
Hey, explain this to me though. After the open house the other night or other day, Rondell went to Walmart hunting them, and they had two different ones.
Yeah.
Is there one that's preseason and one that's not?
There's actually three different ones, I believe.
Okay.
There's one it's got a it's almost like an Italian dressing mixture on it. It's got
it's already on it.
Yeah, it's already on it. You don't have to do
Okay.
anything. And then there's one that's just white meat, just plain. And the girl, I called Butterball about this thing, getting her to explain it to me. And there's also one that's dark meat.
Oh,
So they
have
put it
you
together.
seen all three different ones at your Walmart?
No, I have not seen the dark meat one,
Okay.
but I didn't look. I didn't look real close. So they're there. You just got to hunt through them, and there's labeled on the front of it.
Right.
Look at that rib Steve Davidson did now.
They look good.
I thought that was a tenderloin or pork loin rather.
It does look similar to a pork loin. I think
But
those
you can
are,
see the bones. You can see the bones down there.
yeah, those
Yes,
are probably
barely. Those are
baby
ribs.
backs.
Man. Yeah, they look fantastic, Steve. You and Michael can do those ribs. Rondell Thacker just talking about him. Look at that. Look at those big old butts he's got on his smoker. Got him in pans. Oh, Ronald, he can cook, buddy.
He did a bunch of. There might be. Are those not his turkey breast? He did a bunch of a big cook over Thanksgiving, and he was cooking turkey breast, just the breast for a lot of people.
I think those are butts.
Okay.
That may have been from before Thanksgiving, but whatever they are, they look great.
Oh yeah.
Thomas Damon checking in this week with his bacon jam.
That looks really good. What
Bacon jam, man? You kidding
got?
me?
Bacon and onions and. I'm trying to see what all's in that. I didn't see when he posted that.
The first time I tasted bacon jam was at Wine Down. Marcus Gardner
Right.
here in Ooltewah puts it on his. He's got a cheeseburger. I swear to God, it's the best cheeseburger in town.
I got to get up there and try it. I've heard y'all talk about it.
I tell you what, it's fantastic. And he puts that on there, his bacon jam. It's homemade. I tried making it one time, and I made just a big mess. So I mean, I couldn't get it.
I hope our German guy from I hope he makes it over here to the States one day, and we're all able to meet him at the store.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. There. I just wanted to share my family's Thanksgiving picture with everybody. There's not a lot of women
now.
It's not a lot of women in my family, so we kind of frown on the. They're down there at the other end. You can't see them, but I just wanted to share my family picture with y'all. I thought
that's
was
beautiful.
Nice. They are beautiful people. There is the Chateaubriand that I thought was Chateaubriand, but I found out that is the method. And that's just, I guess, the center cut of the tenderloin. But doesn't it look good, though, Jason?
Oh, it looks fantastic. Yeah.
And there is the star. That's going to be the star this year, the prime rib.
See that piece right there, that's got a fantastic spinalis there wrapped around that top of it. Oh,
it sure does.
Fantastic.
That's a big one. That's a big one, and that's a good looking one. Next week, Jason, we have got as our special guest is going to be Meathead is going to be with us next week.
Cool.
From AmazingRibs.com.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about prime rib and how to cook one. And I'll be sharing a couple of my ideas with you. And of course, Meathead is a world-renowned expert on prime rib. And I'm sure he is on Chateaubriand as well. And he'll be sharing some recipes with us and giving us a little background on it, like David did. I think that's interesting when they know, especially a guy like David.
Oh yeah,
he knows how to cook. He's been to the finest restaurants there are, and he's just a little more, I guess, a little more cultured than I am. I don't know.
Oh, me too. Oh, me too. Yeah.
I don't get. If I go to Hickson, I have to stay. I gotta spend the night somewhere around Bonnie Oaks Drive. It's so long. I just don't get out much. Knoxville's a 2-night trip for me.
So let me ask you this, and I meant to bring this up when David was still on with us. There's an internet argument every year when it comes to prime rib. You got one side of people that says prime rib has to be prime as far as grade, but then you got the other half, the other camp that says prime rib is like the cut, the process, the whole, like he's talking about the Chateaubriand. It's prime rib is not specifying grade. Which way do you lean on that?
It's not. It's not at all. Prime rib is not specifying grade.
Correct.
That's the way. Correct. It's a subprimal. Yeah. And it's just the part of the cow that it comes from. More like David said, the method. Now you could argue that, right? But it's not the there's select choice of prime rib. Yeah. That's usually what you're buying at Costco. Yep. When you buy the $6.95 stuff, it's the
public stuff.
The lowest grade, the lowest grade there is. Then you got a choice, and then you got prime.
The prime rib.
Prime rib, right?
Yeah.
And they say that's only
that's a small percentage of the market.
Yeah, it's primes, and you're not going to get that for $6.95.
Oh no,
I guarantee.
Oh no.
So that's that. I know that for a fact. But you know what? That choice and that select is still pretty good.
Oh, it's fantastic. Absolutely,
it cooks pretty good.
It just it amuses me to see that argument kick up every year in some of the Facebook groups. They're arguing it's got to be prime rib, and to be prime rib, and it can get amusing.
Yeah, let's see. Here we got Sarah's Kitchen says hi. I believe that's your mommy. Is that right, Jason?
No, that's not me.
That's not your daughter, Sarah's Kitchen?
Okay.
Jeff's going to bring us a taste tomorrow. Brent Hilliard says, I didn't hear well. What was David's based on salmon? What was it? You were talking to him.
Raspberry chipotle and maple syrup.
Okay. Yeah. Good memory.
I'm going to try it.
Brent says, I have one of those turkey roasts to try. They're good. I tell you what, Butterfield needs to send me and Pete a check. We've increased those roast sales over at Walmart.
Oh yeah, you have.
Kay Cook says I do a fresh ham at Christmas.
That's my mom right there.
Oh, that is. Yeah. Jeff says prime rib is the method.
Yep.
David Bosco said so as well. Well, you both wrong. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Next week coming up, Meathead will be with us. So join us, please, here on the Owl's Nest Catch-Up Show. And don't forget, we are open every day till 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock on Saturdays. We've got a great sale going on all of our Green Mountain grills and our pit barrel cookers. Folks, give somebody you love or you like a new grill for Christmas. You will win their hearts. We've got them made. We've got them in the box. Okay? Come by and buy one. We've got a bunch of them, and we got to get these things sold. So we need to sell them. That means you need to buy them for somebody you love. Now, last year we ran out. Don't wait and wait till 2 days before Christmas. Come in there looking for a grill, because I hope we're out. I hope there's not a great selection. If there's a great selection 2 days before Christmas, you're gonna find some cheap grills, I promise you. So
I kind of look at it. What is it? The Griswolds? What it said that the Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving. And to me, a grill's that way, man. I mean, the day you get it's just the beginning. It just all year long, that sucker will keep producing if you keep using it.
Absolutely. We got the pit barrels. We got the large, the PBX pit barrel, the big one, $2.99, regularly $4.99, $2.99, and we've got the classic, the 18.5. $1.99. Guys, folks, Jason, that's carrying around money.
Oh yeah.
That's carrying. I mean, you can feel that off your hip.
Yeah.
Throw down 2 C notes in the tax, and you're out of there with a brand new pit barrel cooker. And you want to taste a good prime rib. Pete and I hung one a couple of weeks ago.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And man, that was good. That was some good food right there.
Yeah. And no, Steve Davidson, you can't write a check for it. He takes check cards.
Well, you can write a check. Steve,
I give him such a hard time. That son gun tries to write a check everywhere he goes. He refuses to swipe his check card.
You can write a check at my place. I know where he lives. Jason, thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, man.
We appreciate it. We're gonna get out of here.
I appreciate
We'll
it.
see you. We'll see you tomorrow at the Owl's Nest barbecue store. Until then, everybody be safe.